right, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the New Mexico game coming up. We're going to talk about kind of keys to the win, what we need to do to win this one, and basically improve performances going forward. How do we elevate where we're at now in going into this game? So I want to start off with a couple thoughts. I was watching some New Mexico stuff earlier to kind of get some insight into their plays. The couple things that I saw right off the bat is the quarterback has a tendency to sit in the pocket and he scrambles and focuses a little so much on pressure that he's not looking at his wide receivers very much. And I think we can capitalize on that. I think this is a good game for us to get some pressure. Um, and then I think their defense has some holes in it, especially on the passing, the receiving defense. So I'm hoping we see Maddox make a comeback here and see some good things from our wide receivers. So Ricky, let's start with you. Going into the defense side, trying to get some sacks and stuff. What are you seeing from us and what we need to be doing this game?
Honestly, I enjoy the way we played this last game. So if we continue to do that, to be physical on the line, impose our will, I think we did really well um, to create some pressure for our DBs. I think that's the main thing that we need to do against a team like this. Is like if we can stop them from running and get them in a passing situation, like you said, their quarterback is he doesn't do well there on with pressure. So we need to put that pressure on him so he can throw some questionable balls that we can pick off. I think that would be the game plan. Other than that, I think it comes down to us realizing what we did against Notre Dame, growing from it, and saying, okay, now it's time to play Bronco ball. We're not trying to play against New Mexico. We're playing our game against whoever. Whoever
Yeah.
lines up, we're gonna make it happen because we do this and we do this well, and we just gonna go out there and get it done. That's what I want to see. I want to see some excitement, some creativity. I want to see some uh, trick plays. We haven't seen those. We haven't seen that Bronco Boise State type football yet, but I think it's coming. I feel like our defense is getting more confidence,
Mm.
and it comes down to the offense is like number 5, Marshall, and the catch he made. I like to see that. That was just a one-on-one opportunity. They said, "Hey, that's our guy, and he's better than your guy, so we're gonna throw it up." And I like that. I feel like that's what we need to do. That's being dominant. Um, and yeah, quarterback play, I'll be all right starting a new quarterback and seeing how that goes. But I don't think that's a reality that we live in. Um, but to me, that would send a message to my quarterback and be like, yo, this ain't it. We can't continue like this. And if you do, then you're not going to be that guy anymore because we're relying on you to not throw 4 picks. We are relying on you to throw 4 touchdowns. So that would
Yeah,
be
it's
my idea
interesting to
going into this
me.
game. Go
Interesting
ahead.
to see the black and white sides of Maddox Madsen. Like some games, you know, even like against App State or Eastern Washington, even Air Force, like he typically looks pretty good. He seems like he's in control. He's pretty level headed. He tends to be mostly accurate with just a couple off throws here and there. And even when he starts getting that pressure, he's really good at escaping the pocket, getting out, and extending the plays to a point where he can find someone to throw to, or just run it for a first down if he needs. Pretty good at scrambling as well. And then on the flip side, on this last game, we kind of saw the other side of him where it's just like there's certain games where he's not able to step up as much as he needs. Um, his inaccuracies all of a sudden come to light and they're more pronounced than the accuracies. Um, and like on Notre Dame, we saw him scrambling, which, like I said before, he's great at doing that. But we saw him doing that when it wasn't necessarily needed. I know, Ricky, you made a point where it's like he might have just needed to get out of the pocket to be able to see over that line and find his receiver. I think that's a valid point too. Um, but it's interesting to me how drastically different he can be in those. The coaches talk a lot about him being even keeled and very mentally even. Um, but we need to see more consistency through the performance, I think. So it seems to me that against these teams where we either match up with them very well or we even talent-wise outmatch them a little bit, which I expect in this Mexico game. I think he does really well. I think it's really where he feels like an underdog a little bit, where he gets a little more frantic.
Mm. Yeah, maybe. Like I said, I liked the sense of urgency, but hated um, the anxiety that I saw last game. And I think that, they'll get that taken care of. And going in against New Mexico with a game plan to, again, like Ricky said, play our game. And he hit it right on the head. And it's so easy to get away from that, but that's really where all the true, like, actual substantial success comes from, is playing the Bronco way, and playing our game, regardless of who lines up across from us. I think that
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I do feel like, even just like what we were talking about with the defense on the last video, figuring out what they're doing, whether they're in man or whatnot, it's a little bit of a reactive mentality that you can get trapped in, where really the only mentality that I want to get trapped in is the killer mentality. I mean, there's like the fighting mentality that a lot of people have, but there's a killer mentality that really just does not give a shit. You know what I mean? And football, the football field is the place where it's legal to, within the bounds of the game, go as hard as you want and beat somebody as badly as you want to. There's no governor, there's no limit, there's no training wheels. It's just winning, the opportunity to win. And I think when, again, back when both Ricky and I were playing, there was a team wide mentality of winning. You know what I mean? Just like losing never crossed the mind. And I mean during each play, not only for the game, but it's like, man, if I don't win this play, whether I get the ball or not, I'm going to be, upset with myself for not beating his ass because I had the opportunity. And I think that, it's definitely a team game, but when you have a team of individuals who are all beating their guy and sometimes another guy, uh, there's a lot of success there. And there's, really something that the fans can get behind as well when you got a mentality like that.
for sure.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame was talking about this on their defense. Um, the beginning of the year, their defense really, really struggled, and all of a sudden, like not during our game, but the game I think before that, they all of a sudden had kind of a breakout game where they started doing a lot better. And I saw an interview with one of their coaches asking about that and what kind of differences they made. He basically pointed out to simplifying, running a less variety of plays, kind of simplifying it down to the core plays that they need to really execute and honing in on those and making those the best they can be instead of trying to give so many different looks, use the offense. And I think that kind of goes a little bit to the point of what you're saying about the offense with us is, it's nice to be able to do those motions and do that stuff to kind of get an edge. But at a point, I think it can cause a little bit more of those hiccups that we're seeing in penalties and false starts and stuff like that. Instead of simplifying, working, doing what's effective and owning that to the point where it's like no one can stop it. Then
Right.
expanding the playbook a little bit once we have that core base that we can work off.
Absolutely. I think that's a football philosophy. Like, make somebody beat you by doing something very specific very well. So if I know that I can run the ball in this play, and you know that I'm gonna run this play, but I'm gonna run it anyways, and I'm gonna make you stop me from running this play, that puts you in the driver's seat. From there on, you can do anything. Um,
Yeah, that opens up
so
a
I
lot of windows.
right. So I think that's exactly what you were saying with Notre Dame's defense. Yeah, they have guys, and they have certain guys that are good at certain plays. M- Make them beat you instead of beating yourself by getting out of position or doing stuff that you're not really good at. I think that's a valid point. But I know that we have the talent to be a really good team. It's now it just comes down to that killer mentality that TJ was talking about. I think on my whole career playing at Boise State, I don't think I ever once during preparing for during the preparation of playing a game, I thought about, oh man, we could lose this game. The focus was we're gonna go out there and do our thing and win the game. That's it. There was no if, oh, we could lose this game. No, we're going to go out there, prepare well, do our thing, come out there with the win. Sometimes that doesn't work out, but my mindset is I'm gonna do my thing to win this game. And I think that's a difference if once you go out there. Um, I noticed it too with teams I coach, Boise High School. If we start worrying about, hey, we can lose this game, or oh, I don't want to lose, that's half the battle right there. I'm not going out
Mhm.
there to lose. I'm going out there to play, and I'm gonna go out there to win. All that other stuff doesn't matter. The We need to not give that attention. We need to give attention to the details that allow us to win. So I know we could turn around. I think this might be a sleeper game right here because I feel like New Mexico. I don't know if it was New Mexico or New Mexico State that came down and beat us on the blue a few years ago. Um, but they've done it before. You know, the blue is not what it used to be. So I know they got us crossed up, circled on our calendar on their calendar. Say, hey, the Boise State, those are the guys to beat, and they already lost this amount of games this season. This is our season. We're gonna go out there and whoop that ass. So I know that's what their coach is saying. I know that's what they're looking at. If they can beat Boise State, this is gonna be a great season. So I want our team to understand that and come out swinging.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
sure.
think mentally you have to put yourself in the driver's seat right from the get-go, Just like even in preparation, you have to go out there knowing you're going to control the game in this specific way and having that game plan, having that expectation. I think as soon as that doubt creeps in, it starts to affect different aspects that you may not even be aware of. It's just kind of a subconscious thing leaking in.
Mhm.
Um, Going into this game, like I I think I've seen things in New Mexico where I think we definitely have some advantages. Like I was saying before, I think our passing game is going to be key in this one. I think we'll be able to run it just fine, but I foresee just from what I've seen in film, I think our passing play will really excel in this and could really break the top open for us. Um, while our running game will kind of be the powerhouse. It'll be the thing that gets everything moving. It's going to be the consistent thing. And then the passing plays are going to really be the game changer. The things that like, oh, okay, we just threw it over the top to Ford, like we saw against Eastern Washington, long touchdowns and stuff. I think we're going to see a little bit of that this game. Um, just like I said, from what I've seen in their defense, their defenders tend to be a little bit off the receivers a little bit, kind of like what we've seen from us some of the early games. Um, and I've seen even some lesser teams get past them in ways that definitely expose holes that I think we could take advantage of. I foresee Ben Ford having probably a pretty big game on this one. Chris Marshall, I think, has an opportunity to really become a standout player in this game. Um, and I think Caples will probably make some appearances. I think he's going to be that consistent receiver that he pretty much always is. But I expect those big blowout plays to be Chris Marshall and Ben Ford probably.
Yeah, really looking forward to number 5. Making a statement this game, and I hope that he's feeling this type of support, the recognition that he is a great player. We can see that he can make the plays. He's got the hands, and man, to channel that and to get into some philosophy. But Ricky just said it. Like what gets attention grows, right? It's like if you're giving your attention to the other team and what they can do to you, that's going to grow. If you're giving your attention to your discipline and to your confidence and just taking care of work, then that's what's going to grow. And so, man, what I really liked was even at the end of the game, after some picks, you know how frustrating that is. He was still out there going pretty hard and making plays when he had the chance. So really hoping that Ben Ford, 13, has been making some plays too. Just the whole receiving four can can really like get back to the Boise State way this game.
So
Yeah.
I want to hear your guys' takes on the running back. I know in the last game we kind of saw Sire for most of the game, and he did fairly well. Then Riley came in kind of in the second half and actually ended up having the highest yards per average. Do you guys think that Riley has earned the right to become that RB1? Have Sire now RB2? Like, should we be starting Riley? Should he be our lead guy? Or do you think we should keep it with Sire in the lead as the powerhouse and Riley is kind of that, once Sire wears him down with his trucking and stuff, Riley comes out and breaks through the holes. What do you guys think is the best strategy there?
I I mean, I'm a lineman, so any type of physicality that we can impose on the opposite team, that's what I would choose for. I feel like if we have a big bruiser, it's a lot different than having tackles a big body, somebody that's physical. That's gonna wear you down. That's gonna set the tempo, and that's the thing. It comes down to crushing somebody's mindset as soon as you can. As soon as you get in the game, you can crush somebody's mindset and take their soul. That's a win. So that's why TJ touched on it on the last in the last video. When we did get that stop on that goal line stop, that to me is a big momentum builder. So, and then to have to get back on the field right after that, it crushes. Now, instead of you crushing somebody else's spirit and taking their soul, now your soul gets crushed. And I feel like that's where I want to see our offense get to. I think put the big bruiser out there, let him run over some people, make them get physical. Um, I think that's the recipe to success. I kind of got off track right there, but
Yeah, no, that's a great
Uh,
track, and it's the right track. I mean, we need to see them running with anger. You know what I mean? It's like, man, like fuck you, there's no other way to put it besides like, dude, I'm not running out here to try to get some yards. I'm running to try to not to try to impose my will. I mean, we look at Genty and why he's so good. He imposed his will to space when it was necessary, and he imposed his will to collisions when it was necessary. And you guys will talk about people having a motor. There's plenty of different ways to say it, but it's that reckless abandon that it's like you're really just running to punish, or you're running a route to win. Getting back to that mentality of embarrassing your opponent, whether you get the ball or not, is just somewhere that we need to be. And so I'm looking forward to all the running backs hearing this and, just accepting it, accepting that they are on the same field that Brock Forsey ran on. You know what I mean? This fool had like, I don't know, probably nearly triple digits touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? And it was different time and we weren't playing Notre Dame at that time, but if we were, he would have been running the same. And he ran with purpose, and he ran not ever to get, to just get enough. He was running for touchdowns, and I think that, I just want to shout out to him because I think that that type of mentality is something that we could really use to see as fans, because it brings so much quality and substance to the fans to see that extra effort. And I think this game would be a great game to see that from everybody who we've seen greatness from, but not the grit level that maybe that we're used to.
Yeah, I think talking about Genty, and kind of him imposing his will, it's like when he saw a guy coming to try to tackle him, it wasn't like, okay, how do I get around this guy or what's the best way for me to get through him? It was like, oh, you want to try to tackle me? Like, try to grab this, and it just trucks the guy over. Like, it's that mentality of just um, like I said, like TJ always says, not being reactive, but just being uh I don't know, I guess focused on imposing your will. He was very, very good at that, and he had the talent to do so as well. And I think our current running backs have the talent to do that. Sire Gaines is
for
very
sure.
physical. He can truck through people as well, and he's just hard to grab. Not quite at the same level as Genty, but it's like when people try to shoelace tackle him or whatever, he's pretty good at really slipping tackles. I remember one of the earlier games I saw a play where I think he broke like 6 tackles in one play. And like that's like Genty level stuff right there. He has the capability to be that. Um, and I I do like your idea, Ricky, with them using Sire to wear that down that defense a bit. I think you're right. As a defensive player, it's like when you're getting hit over and over and over again, you're getting trucked through. Like it starts to wear on you a little bit, not just physically, but mentally too, you know? And
Right.
I think that opens it up for Riley to break through those holes and make those big explosive plays. When they're being used to getting trucked, play and play again, and then Riley jukes around him as they're bracing for impact, you know, it opens them up a little bit. Um,
For sure.
and I think that's something I didn't really think about. But going as with if Riley were RB1, you know, now they have a smaller guy that's more agile. He's good at finding those holes and stuff, but they're not as scared about blocking those holes and hitting him. I think Sire can open that up a little bit. I think that's a really good point. So going into this game, what's your guys' score predictions going forward? What do you? I mean, I personally think we're gonna win this one. I think we'll probably win it by a few touchdowns, but I want to hear your guys' score predictions on this.
Yeah, so this week I'm going with 42-17. Um, that might be a late field goal by New Mexico. Um, but yeah, I look for the Broncos to not only make some big plays early, but to capitalize on that momentum. And like Ricky said earlier, get into the driver's seat and play Bronco football like they know how.
Thinking it's going to be 63-9. Us.
There you go. I like that.
We're blowing them out. What you got, Amarin?
I think I'm there pretty close with TJ. I think they'll score maybe even a little bit more than 17. They have a couple strengths here and there, and whether it comes down to us doing penalties or whatever, I think they're gonna get some yards. So I think I'm gonna go probably up in that 40 range, 42, let's say. But I think they're gonna score a little bit more, maybe 21, 21 to 42, something like that. But I am hoping we win this one pretty handily. The things I'm really hoping for is I hope we see a few more sacks in this one. I think this is a great game for us to impose our will on the quarterback. He doesn't really respond to pressure very well, and we're good at putting pressure on a team that we kind of I think physically outmatch a little bit on the line. So I want to see JVM, Jaden Virgin Morgan. I want to see him get a couple sacks. I'd love to see Braxton Feely get in there. I think those two especially can really make an impact on this game. And I hope Max Steege makes a couple sacks too. I hope he gets in there, put some pressure on him. I think this could be
Max,
a
yes.
good little breakout game for him.
Yeah, love to
Absolutely.
see it.
I don't know, just with the way their quarterback responds to pressure, I think sending a couple linebackers here and there is going to kind of frazzle him a little bit and put him in a spot where mentally he's not able to perform. I'd really like to see that.
For
Nice.
sure.
Get after it.
Cool. Well, TJ,
Nice.
thanks for joining us, man. And
All right.
we'll
Yeah.
see you on the next one.
All right. We'll see you down there. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. So, Ricky, I wanted to talk to you real quick about just the defensive line and what they can do on their end to get those sacks that we were just speaking about. So, you were a defensive end for Boise State. What kinds of things do they need to be preparing for going into this?
Man, first they got to stop the run. If you want to cut it loose and get your sacks, you got to make sure you play the run well so we can put them in a long distance situation. That third and long is where you want to cut it loose and get those sacks. Other than that, I feel like it's about just not giving up. I think a lot of times you think, oh, if I can't beat this guy clean off the line and working with a move, I'm not going to get the sack. But a lot can happen. You got DBs back there covering. As long as you don't give up and just keep fighting, you're gonna get some sacks.
Yeah,
But other than that,
I
I
think
think, like you said, Max, and our starting D line, they got the capabilities. I think it's just imposing our will, like we said before.
Yeah, I think this quarterback has a tendency. Like I saw one play against San Jose where he starts getting pressured and he's sitting there looking back and forth at the defensive ends, like trying to figure out where he needs to go to avoid being sacked. And for like 5 seconds straight, he's sitting there looking at his blockers instead of looking downfield. And
Right.
I think by bringing a couple linebackers here and there, you know, we can really cause him to do that a little bit. Um, so, and I think that that opens up our DBs to make some big plays, some interceptions, some stuff like that. You know, when feeling a little bit frazzled. Um,
Absolutely. Getting some more pressure is never gonna you're never gonna regret it. I think we also blitz a lot on our defense, so I think that would be a given. They're definitely gonna send some linebackers.
so switching to the offensive line here, like I was saying in our last video with Notre Dame review, I think Matoyer's had some struggles, both with penalties. I think he has probably. I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers, but I assume he probably has the most penalties on the offensive line, and I don't think he's going to have trouble blocking the New Mexico line. I think he's good enough to stop those guys, but I wouldn't mind seeing the backup, Schmidt, I believe, come in for some snaps, um, and kind of seeing what he's capable of. I think this is a good opportunity and a good game for him to get in there.
If I was the line coach, I would definitely start Matoyer and just give him a shot. But if we start seeing more penalties, stuff like that, I'm moving him out. I'm taking him out. I'm saying, hey, like we got to figure out a way for you to do your job correctly, because that's what it's going to come
I
down
agree.
to, especially, and not to bag on anybody, but your offensive line is the foundation of your offense. Like if you can't play clean on the offensive line and you have penalties, you're gonna set your offense back so much. For now, you got to fight against the defense and yourself. I think it's just gonna be a difficult way to win. So I would definitely give them a shot. I think the penalties, sometimes people have off games. You never know what is happening, but I'm gonna give them a short leash for sure.
Yeah, I think, you know, have him start and give him that chance to show us, hey, you know, we know that you can perform up to the level we need, but we need to see it. And I think if they're not seeing that, if we start seeing penalties from Matoyer, especially like false starts, stuff like that, that's just kind of mentally not being disciplined. Um, I think Schmidt. I think we've seen him when he did come in do fairly well, and in this game especially, I wouldn't necessarily be scared to throw him in and start giving him a chance to show what he can do. Um, but I thought in the game he did play, he did fairly well.
Absolutely. I think looking at it, if I'm New Mexico, I'm trying to get I'm trying to come after Matson for sure and try to draw some offsides penalties, false start penalties. I'm throwing it all out there, and I feel like I have a little chip on my shoulder to go against this offensive line, knowing that they're not as disciplined and they're giving up a lot of different opportunities to make big plays. I'm definitely down that up. I would be excited to put my defensive line against that O line. And
Yeah.
I think like keeping our quarterback in the pocket might be your best weapon against this offense. It's kind of a backwards thing, but I think that's where you want to be. You want to keep him in the pocket so he can't make certain throws, and then in the pocket he's the easiest accessible. And if he wants to run outside, let him run outside. We've seen
Yeah.
that's not really a accurate ball that he throws when he's on a run to the right. It's very low to the. So I would try to force that every time.
So I know Louder was out in the last game, which I thought really hurt us. I think
Right.
he's a player that we can depend on to make those physical catches and get into the check down areas, you know, just those reliable type catches. He seems to be really good at that. And sometimes he just breaks big plays too. So I do think that kind of hurt us. And I was surprised I didn't hear about that until right before the game. I was like, oh man, that's gonna hurt. um,
Right.
I'm hoping he's back for this one. But I want to hear your thoughts. Like I know Wagner's kind of been a close second in that tight end race. Even when Louder is playing, you know, Wagner's in there for like 50% of the plays. He's still in there making a big impact. So if Louder is still out, you see Wagner having a big game in this, or do you just see him kind of being that blocking tight end? What do you see as his role?
You know what? I honestly don't know. The one thing I like about this tight end group is that everybody plays and everybody pitches in a little bit. You know, you got Louder, who's like I think he's a little more, the pass catching guy, but you got all those other guys that are just pitching in and making it happen. What is it? Last game, not Notre Dame, but the game before that, there was a guy that caught a ball that I have never heard of before, and I was like, oh snap! I thought it was Louder, but it wasn't. So I think it's an opportunity for these guys to step up and just do their thing. I feel like at the end of the day, if everybody knows their playbook and knows what to do, they all are there for a reason, right? They all got recruited to Boise State because they can ball, and now it comes down to when the light is shown on you to actually show up. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I think in a game like this, someone like Wagner, I think, is more than capable enough to step up and really fill those shoes. If Louder's back, it's gonna help that much more. I love Louder. I think he has a really high ceiling that he hasn't quite hit yet. Um,
Right.
I there's stuff I see in him that I'm like, I keep expecting him to be that kind of tight end that's just like they keep going back to over and over, and he's kind of almost one of the leading wide receivers. And he hasn't quite hit that yet. But I think he has that potential. And Wagner, I think a little bit younger than Louder, but I see it in him as well. He's made some really good little flat catches and stuff like that this year. I think this game is if Louder's out, I think it's a really big chance for him to show what he's capable of. I'm kind of looking
Sure.
forward to that.
Sure. Yeah.
And then just as far as offensive talk goes, I think the tight ends could have a really big game this game. I haven't been super impressed with New Mexico's their pass defense. It seems like there's just wide open holes that the receivers are able to get into. The receivers are often able to get over the top of them. And I think with the creative play calling we've seen from Potter at times, I think we have a big potential to see some of that this game. Um, so
Yeah, I don't see my thing, like I said before, is Boise State is Boise State. So everybody's excited to come to the blue and make a statement because it is. If you beat Boise State, you're going to be a Mount West champ favorite. So they're going to come out and give us their best shot. And I think a lot of that stuff, maybe the first quarter, all those weaknesses might not be there because they're hyped. They're trying to make it happen. But if we play our game and impose our will, then yeah, we can get to the point where now we can put them in a position of, hey, we're trying to catch up, and that's where offensively we'll thrive because we can get all those plays. But I expect this first quarter they're going to come out and try to bring it to us, which I like.
yeah.
But then it comes down to, okay, who is willing to go a little bit further to make it happen and to win this play. So I'm
Yeah, and
excited.
I've seen some of the fans are a little bit down after the last game. Naturally, it's never fun to lose, but I'm hoping they come out this game strong and loud, man. I think if the crowd comes out real loud this game, New Mexico, every team really has trouble at the Blue when the crowd is loud. And I
Sure.
think especially at the beginning when New Mexico's coming out hard and trying to show that they can be physical and start to wear down the Boise offense and defense, I think the crowd being in their ear could be that game changer right at the beginning where it's just like, oh, you want to try to out physical us? Like it's hard to do that when you can't hear each other. You know what I mean?
For
So
sure. For
I'm
sure.
hoping the crowd, like fans, step up, get out there, be loud, make a difference. I think we can really have an impact on this.
Absolutely. I think that's the one thing I liked when I played. I think BYU, that was a loud game. That was the loudest I ever heard the crowd. And that stuff does make an impact. One, it gives your team energy. It's such a good feeling to hear that crowd roar. And then offensively, the opposite, the opposing team, they're having a hard time figuring out what they're talking about, what play is called. There's a lot of side adjustments that are hard to hear now. So yeah, it's important for our Bronco fans to show up. That's important. And I know they will.
I think if we can come out hard and you know, when they're coming out with that will and that effort, and we shove them in the ground, I think that's going to go away pretty quickly. New Mexico seems like a team that continues to fight. You know, they're not going to give up till the very end. But I think we can put this game away pretty quickly if we come out and just, you know, bury them in the first couple series. So that's what
Absolutely.
I'm looking for personally. Like I said, I think I'm expecting like a 42-21 type situation. Um, in theory, I could even see us scoring more than that. It could even get up to as high as like that 50-ish range if we really start dominating. Um, I don't know, man. It'll be an interesting game. I think having it be a bounce back game, especially for Maddox, curious to see how he performs, mentally, how he comes out, and how consistent he is right off the bat. Um, from what I've seen in the past, he kind of has a tendency where when he does not do quite as good in the prior game, he comes out with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So hopefully he'll come out and be slinging it. But if we do get ahead, especially, I would love to see Cutforth come out and get some play time. I think it's good for him to start getting that experience and be the guy in the pocket that, you know, in those situations where Maddox not stepping up like he did in against Notre Dame, it's hard when we don't have a backup that we can rely on, that we can sub out feeling confident. Like, okay, if Maddox isn't getting it done, let's put this guy in and see if he can get it done. I think when the coaches are like, you know, if Maddox isn't getting it done, I'm not confident that our other guys can either. I think that's hard. So I'd love to see some of those guys getting that playtime experience really in any of the games going forward. You know, if it gets late in the game and we're up by quite a bit, get those guys in there, get them some playtime. We don't need to be playing Maddox, you know, through the fourth quarter if we're up by, you know, 30 points. Like it's I think a risk to run him that long in that situation, and it doesn't benefit the guys beneath him either.
I agree with you. I think if I was Maddox, I would have definitely a chip on my shoulder because I'm trying to run up the score as much as I can and play a perfect game, just to show people that I am that guy. Because, yeah, a lot of people are not happy, but like you
Yeah.
said, I want to see him run up the score so he can get some backups in. I think that's the thing that me playing at Boise State, playing with Kellen, we were up by halftime like 40 points. So being a backup in my early stages of my career actually allowed me to get a lot of playing time and I could get better. So that's important for us to continue to grow as a team is to get those backups in there, the third strings, the fourth string guys that normally don't see any reps. Um, to get those reps because we are at home, so we don't have the travel squad that we normally have. So we're limited to players. Now we can actually just play whoever. Hey, you haven't played, get in there and make a play. I think that's going to be important. So I'm excited to see that. I honestly think it's going to be we're going to catch our stride and put 60 something points on these guys.
I think you know, 2 years or so from now, those are going to be the starters. As people leave and they move up, you know, I think getting them as much early experience as we can, the better. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I would love to see that also. But cool.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I think we're gonna wrap it up. We look forward to the game, man. I am so excited for this one. I I do foresee us having a big game, especially in the passing range. I think we're going to do just fine on runs as well, but I'm hoping Maddox has one of those 350-yard plus games like we saw against Eastern Washington and against App State. I think there's a big potential to see that against this defense. So once again, if you guys are going to the game, be loud. Be loud. I want to hear you on TV. Fortunately, I can't make this one because I'm stuck at work, but I'll be watching and I'll be listening for you guys. Ricky, thanks again for coming by, man. I really appreciate it. It's always fun chatting with you guys. And I'll just leave it with go Broncos.